Oh, yes. Hello, beloveds. So excited for this little mini training I've just been divinely downloaded and gifted to give to you all today. Today, we're going to talk about 3 ways to pare down your daily to-do list from 18 M&F and things to just 3. And at the end of this, I'm going to actually tell you the 3 things that I do in my work days, my 4 days a week that I work, because it's like really freaking small and it's really freaking simple what I do. And it's not stressful. And I have tons of time for other things in my life, like exercising, going for walks, not even the walks for exercise, like the walks are just for my mental health, talking to my mentors. What are the things I do? Hang out with my kids on the couch, go out and see live music, which is one of my favorite things to do here in the Bay Area. Like, I just have time for life besides being a business owner, which of course I didn't always have. So yes, this message today is for my fellow visionaries and leaders, the ones with the big ideas. This is for you. And of course, beloved, you're the one with the big idea, but you have like 18 million ideas at any given time. And this came out of a conversation I had with one of my mentees yesterday who asked me the question on our coaching call. How do you keep your thoughts organized? Like, I have the sticky notes, but I have like 18 sticky notes. They're like all over the house. They're everywhere. Just like, tell me how you keep yourself organized. And so, interestingly, we didn't actually talk about like the organizer, like how I work my calendar and all these things. I shared with her these 3 things that I'm about to share with you, which are much more like ways of being than they are like a specific organizational tool. So here we go. These are the 3 things, and I want to say, for those of you, we're taught that our value is based on how busy we are. So this is really about you understanding that your value, it has nothing to do with how busy you are. And this is for those of you who are not interested in the busyness anymore. And I want to say that there's plenty of leaders and visionaries that are completely enrolled in the busyness trap that are more than willing to go along with it. So if you are like committed to your patterns of busyness, this really isn't going to help you, and I'm probably not the right mentor for you. Also, not the right business coach for you. I am, for those of you who don't know, my name is Kiki Lovelace, and I am a mom. I am the owner of 2 multi-6-figure businesses going on 7-figure businesses. I am super ambitious, but not in the way that like society teaches us to be ambitious. Like, my ambitions are, yes, totally around money. I love money. And they're also around impact and having doing my most meaningful work in the world. But I have all these other ambitions too. Like, I'm very ambitious around the kind of mental health that I want to have for myself. I'm very ambitious around my own physical well-being, around being the kind of mom that I want to have, around having the kind of marriage I want to have. So like, my version of ambitious is much more about me having a full bodied experience as a spiritual being in a human body. And so that's what I'm all about here. And so honestly, busyness is a block to a lot of those things, which is why years ago, when I was pregnant with my firstborn, I started to get really curious about how I could go from working, 80-hour weeks, which was typical at that time, to, being able to take a maternity leave. And then, once I got back from my maternity leave, being able to like show up and be the kind of mom I wanted to be, which is not just about being with my children. It's also about having alone time, right? That's the kind of mom I want to be, is like a mom that has boundaries and has alone time and that actually takes care of herself. So anyways, this is for y'all's, you visionary and leaders who are like me, who have a different idea of success that is not necessarily congruent with what society tells us success is, which is self-sacrifice, like all day long, and like sit on your couch exhausted with like nothing less left to give yourself or your loved ones. Like, no, that's not what I'm talking about here. Okay, so here are the 3 things that you need to do, or 3 ways to pare down your daily to-do list from 18 things a day to just 3. Number 1, you need to have a spiritual practice of calling in an abundant level of support, even if it puts you in the spook zone. I am about to share with you examples of all the support that I either currently have in my life and business or have had at some point in my life and business. Examples are a personal trainer, a housekeeper, a nanny, a grocery shopper, a personal chef, marketing director or just marketing assistant, a virtual assistant, a personal assistant, a financial planner, an accountant, a bookkeeper, an operations manager, a facilities manager, a human resources manager, flower arranger, whiteboard artist, which we actually have a role in my business, one of my businesses, my brick and mortar, social media poster, someone who does the things, someone who takes the social media post and turns it into an email, ads, Facebook ads and Instagram ads, strategist and like funnel maker. Like, so these are examples of people who are in my field, either like employees or vendors that I work with, or like people that work, to help me with my personal life and my home. And I just want to say that, like, at the very beginning, I was doing all the things. And I can't believe that this is my list of support team at this point. And trust me when I tell you that it took a lot of my own spiritual practice to be able to even name and claim that I wanted someone to help me with flower arranging, for example. Or that I wanted someone else to shop for the food and I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, there was a lot of like emotional and spiritual growth I had to go through to be able to name and claim it, to be able to actually take action and make it real. I always thought that I didn't have enough money for any of these things. So like, any stories you're telling yourself about that, yeah, I get it. I totally understand. And I want to tell you that, like, in the beginning, I was pretty much doing all those things by myself, not very well. And so the first step I took when I had the tiniest bit of money, I really didn't have that much money, but I had like a tiny bit more feeling of a wiggle room, is I hired a bookkeeper. I was doing my own books. And like, that's a terrible place for me to put my energy. I just want y'all to know, not my zone of genius. I hired a bookkeeper. And you know what? It was not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. It was like it was less than $100 a month, I think, at that time, to have a bookkeeper. Oh my God. As soon as I did it, I was like, oh, why did I keep this on my plate for so long? This feels so good. And every single one of these people who are now various ways of supporting me and my business and my growth, like, they all made me more money. But more than that, they just helped me get in my zone of genius. I'm going to talk to you about this next thing. Okay. So the second thing, if you want to drastically reduce your to-do list, is to edit down your accountabilities. And yes, this has to do with delegation, like per what I just talked about, but also you can just delete. You can just be like, no, I actually don't need to do that. That's actually unnecessary. So my support to you, if you're feeling overwhelmed with all the things on your to-do list each day, is like, literally have a hard look at what you're doing each day and each week, and just effing delete some of that stuff and be like, oh, I actually didn't need to do that. Like, I'm still making my income goals, or even increasing my income, or whatever it is that you're working on. And yet I'm not doing all that busy work. So delete some things off, edit down your accountabilities. A good rule of thumb is only do what only you can do. So look at what you're doing each day and each week, and take a hard look. Could someone else do this? If so, hire someone else to do it. Or if you don't have the money, just like get an intern. It's fine. Like, just get an intern or work trader, or like whatever you need to do. Even if you just like do it slowly and like a tiny little piece at a time. That's how I did it. That's how I amassed a team of, I don't even know what I just said, like all those different layers of support. I just did one at a time. And oftentimes it was like a tiny little investment that I made, very small investment. So delegate, edit down your accountabilities, delegate or just delete. Only do what only you can do. I did another like version of this last summer, where I finally let go of teaching the last couple of yoga classes. I mean, teaching yoga was like a part of my identity for 20 years. So it was actually very emotionally charged for me to let go of those last 2 classes that I was teaching. But let me just tell you how much it opened up my schedule. And it opened up my access to intuition, to creativity. It's because I wasn't so busy. You can't feel your intuition is a body feeling. So you can't feel your intuition if you're not in a feeling state. If you're busy and in action and in your head all the time, you just can't even access it. So for me, that's been really a huge part of serving at higher and higher levels, and also creating more and more success in my life and my 2 businesses, is not being busy, is making this spiritual practice of time spaciousness, time abundance, I call it, which is something I teach my business owner clients. Okay, the third thing I want to share with you is it's important that you look at how you are making things more complicated and you find a simpler way. And oftentimes we don't realize we're making something more complicated. We just know it feels complicated. So my support to you is like, if you are just noticing that something feels really complicated and like there's a lot of tasks around it, just ask your mentor. This is why it's important that you have someone to talk to, a business mentor or a success mentor, because you can ask your mentor, hey, I feel like very overwhelmed by this. Is there a simpler way? Is there something I'm not seeing? I'll give you an example. So yesterday, when I was speaking to my mentee who was asking me this question, I said, well, those 18 sticky notes that you have, what are they mostly about? Are they mostly about marketing? Because I know this person very well. I know she gets like kind of tripped up by marketing and lead generation. She's like, yeah, like 10 of the 18 things are about marketing. I was like, oh, you're totally overcomplicating this. Like, marketing is not complicated, or at least it doesn't have to be. I know there are people that love to make it complicated, but I'm here to tell you it is so simple. It is just showing up relatively consistently. I mean, literally it could be like, it doesn't even have to be like 3 times a week. It just consistently, like whatever rhythm you want to make that, whatever story you want to make about that. Be consistent, show up, add some value, share your expertise, and make an offer. That's all it is. Be consistent, show up, add value for your people, like speak, tell your stories. That's valuable. Tell your stories. Share your tips. That's valuable. Just put things together in like an easy to understand way. Even if someone else has already said the thing, it doesn't matter. Just like put it together in an easy to understand way. That's valuable. And then make an offer. That's all it is. That's what marketing is. And that's how I've built both of my very lucrative and successful businesses, is just that, week in and week out, just that. That's all it is. And sometimes I just take vacation and I don't do it. And that's okay. That's okay too. You can still be successful and take vacations. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm so curious to hear what you have to say. I can see there's some comments here. Let's see. No more busy. Amen. Yes, Jerry, I see you. I want to share with you the 3 things that are on my daily to-do list. Because people sometimes ask me this, like, what do you do? Because I only work like 2 to 4 hours a day. My husband is like, what do you do? Because I usually stay at work for like 8 hours, but usually I'm like lying on my phone roller. I listen to like podcasts. I like go for walks, so I really am only working like 2 to 4 hours a day. So here are the 3 things on my to-do list that are in my zones of brilliance. Everything else is off my plate. I have meetings with my team. Not every day, but like throughout the week, I have meetings with my various team members. Sometimes it's just a one-on-one meeting. Sometimes it's a group team meeting. And that's a very important aspect of being a leader. Like one of your main jobs as a leader is you mentor your team. You help them become leaders, really. So I have meetings with my team. The second thing I do is I deliver support to my business coaching clients. So sometimes that's like, I leave them little Voxer messages, or sometimes we have a call, group call or coaching call, depending if they're a private client. And the third thing I do is I do my marketing and sales activities. I don't do that every single day, but most days, most of my work days, I'm doing something in the realm of marketing and sales. I like to do those things. It's really fun for me to do my own marketing and also to like be involved in the sale process. Like I have had people do sales for me, in both my businesses. And actually, I don't do any sales for my studio business anymore, but I do like to do my sales for my coaching business, mainly because I am very picky about the kind of business owners I want to work with. I just want to make sure it feels good, like it feels aligned, and we have a good rapport. We just have a good energetic rapport, and I want to make sure that they're really ready for what I have to offer, and really amenable to it. Like I want to make sure that they will be able to pick up when I'm laying down, essentially. And then I will say that I have this one other thing, and I don't do it every day, but I would say I do it every day, but it just doesn't take a lot of time. So I like to have my hands on my money every day. Like, and so sometimes that just means like checking out my sales reports, or if any sales have come through. Sometimes that means like logging in for a couple of minutes into my online banking. And then like once a week, I actually like look at sales reports, do some allocations, like move money around into my different business and personal accounts. I look at my statements, or I get statements to my bookkeeper, that kind of thing. But that's like a once a week thing. So that's literally all I do for my work, for my business. It's so much fun. I love working. It's so great. I also love not working. That's really a great part of my life as well. So I would just love to hear your thoughts on this, your thoughts, your insights, your takeaways. You can put them in the comments below. Or if by listening to this live stream, you've had any kind of inspired idea about your life, about your business, about what to do next to create more time spaciousness or time abundance for yourself, I would love to hear it in the comments below. So thank you all. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.